Huh. Is Mr. Sprinkle available right now?
We can find out.
Have him come over here.
Your Honor? Can I briefly address something before?
Yeah.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
I appreciate you forwarding to us the ex parte communications you received from Madam DA Fani Willis. Given the sensitivity and the history in this case of ex parte meetings or maybe communications, would you just please request the state? I understand probably what was behind that communications. Of course, it is great for a boss to buck up an underling who has perhaps been attacked or maligned, but I don't believe that, and I don't think the court does either, that the court should have been copied on that communications, especially one that reads maybe more like a campaign ad with a source story in it anyway, I just don't believe it was appropriate, and I would just ask you to please ask the state to halt any future communications ex parte they might want to have with this court. That's all I have to say. Thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah, it's a shame that the court would even have to say something like that. But can you all please communicate to everybody in the DA's office to not have any sort of ex parte communications with the court? And y'all may not even know what I'm talking about because I don't think either of you was copied on that email, but Ms. Love was. Ms. Hilton, you were as well?
I do, Your Honor, and I don't know, I know exactly what you're talking about. I think we have a different perception of direct communication with the court, but we will make sure that.
But the court was copied on it. And it could have been an accident, but
and Your Honor,
it should have been careful.
But the state did not have the initial conversation with the court. That was a community member, and it was very much a reply. Also, was not a direct communication with the court, but we understand the court's perspective. We understand what the court is saying.
Oh, excuse me. I just need to take issue with the fact that it wasn't a direct communication from the court. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Can you hear me now? I didn't mean to act like Max Sharp.
Why Max catching strays?
I take issue with any type of suggestion that this was not a direct communication with the court. It went from Madam DA Fani Willis to this court. It was a direct communication to this court. It was inappropriate. It was praising Georgia's RICO statutes to the court, which again was not appropriate, Your Honor.
Frankly, I think it might be a good idea to print out the email and make it a court's exhibit to this record. But I think what Ms. Hilton was just saying was that the original communication was not from the district attorney's office. The original communication was, I don't know who this person is or where in the world they are, but some member of the world, member of the public, emailing Ms. Love directly, but copying several other people, the court included, because of course our email addresses are a matter of public record. And, you know, I basically ignored it and deleted it. But as you all know, because I forwarded the next communication to everybody, the elected DA, Ms. Willis, made a decision to respond and directed that response to Ms. Love, but kept everybody, including the person who had made the original email communication, and the court on her response to Ms. Love. And I believe that to be ex parte, and that is the reason why, as soon as I read it, I had Ms. Persifield forward it to all counsel, because I don't think that should be going on.
I certainly appreciated that, Your Honor.
And the court really has ignored entirely the substance of the communication, because the court is not making any decisions based on whether I think the RICO statute is good or bad. That's not what judges do. The legislature enacts statutes. I apply them hopefully correctly.
And I have no
or
concern.
whether anybody thinks any attorney is doing a good or a bad job. I'm just sitting here trying to follow the law.
Yeah, and I'm not concerned about any impact on the court from that communication.
Yeah.
It's just the
Shouldn't be
communication
happening.
itself. Thank
Yeah.
you.
I'm not a lawyer, but it's day 142 in the YSL RICO trial, and that's how it started off. Shout out to Thugger Daily because he posted this first, which is basically someone in the world sent this letter to Attorney Love, and here are some of the highlights from the letter. It says, I have been watching your behavior for quite some time now, and I am wondering how you can be so bad at your job after all these years of experience. You are ruining your career and what is left of the reputation of the Fulton County DA's office. Please just rest this case or you will get into so much more trouble. Maybe you are going to lose your job and will have issues in finding a new one because your unprofessional behavior and your haphazard and unorganized ways of working are on display for everyone to see. Please just do the right thing. Just stop it, Miss Love. Kind regards from Germany. So that letter was sent to Attorney Love, and then Fani Willis, the district attorney for Fulton County, responds to the letter, sending it to Miss Love, to the sender of the letter, and to the judge. And some of her letter says, please ignore this foolishness. As you know, the elected DA is extremely proud of you and believes you to be a huge asset to this office and our community. You have no chance of losing your job, and your service is greatly appreciated. Fani Willis then shares some kind of story about an Uber driver and a friend, and then she ends the letter saying, I am asking of you to continue to focus on justice and ignore the haters. I am extremely proud of you. Now go make it an amazing day. This is the wildest case. Oh, and then after that happens, Mr. Sprinkle shows up. Here's how that goes.
And Mr. Sprinkle is here, Your Honor, if you wanted to.
Okay.
He just walked in.
Hi. Can you take the stand for me? You're still under oath, and I'm going to recall your attention to, I think it was the last day of your testimony, but it was, there was a laptop on the witness stand, and you accessed it.
Yes.
And you actually did that without anybody asking you to or asking the court's permission. But can you tell me what all you looked at on the laptop?
Yeah, I had my supplement, that 140-page document, and I also had some of the stuff that I pulled during the case. Everything that's already been turned over in discovery, just in case I need to refresh my recollection. But primarily, it was just it was a digital version of the report that I had on the stand. That was it. So I could do word searches. So if I was asked a question, I wouldn't have to be flipping through pages and looking for things.
Okay. Was there any point in time when you accessed anything else other than that report and the files that were connected to that?
No.
Okay. Did you in any way read any communication that came in at any time from anybody?
No, I wasn't communicating with anybody. I didn't have email open or anything like that. All I was looking at was the report and the digital media, like the discs that I brought to the stand with me, that stuff that was on the discs and the stuff that was turned over in discovery. That was it.
All right. We may call you back at some point with regard to this a motion that has just been filed after lunch. Are you going to be around this afternoon? And I don't know whether you'd be needed for that or not. Haven't read it in detail, nor do we have a response from the state yet. But would you be available this afternoon if we need you?
Well, I'm just one floor up, Your Honor, and
Okay,
peel
and
away.
I don't know, like I said, whether you'll be needed or not. But all right, thank you.
Okay.
So we are off to a great start on day 142 of the YSL RICO trial. Great start. It is still day 142, and they've just started getting into evidence regarding the second unaliving in this indictment, which has to do with the unaliving of Shymel Drinks. Miles Farley, Demekion Garlington, Quamarvius Nichols, and Shannon Stillwell are all charged with this homicide, which happened on March 14th, 2022. A couple days after Shymel Drinks was found unalive, there was a police chase, and so the state is trying to get in some of that evidence, and so that's what they're going over. There is helicopter video footage as well as footage from a dash cam, and you're gonna notice that Whitaker is basically saying, we don't need the full video, just get to the relevant parts.
So this video, so to orient the court, is on March 17, 2022. This is 3 days after the Drinks homicide.
Okay.
One of the gang investigators is at the Chick-fil-A on Cleveland Avenue. This car is a suspect vehicle at this point.
Okay.
And
which is the white Audi?
The white Audi is a suspect vehicle. And while at the Chick-fil-A, the investigator's getting his lunch, maybe Mr. Stillwell, they're getting their food, and that begins a low speed, high speed chase. When the helicopters start going, Mr. Stillwell gets out of the parking lot. He does not get his food, and and they go on a chase. He goes the wrong way up streets, and he eventually gets to a home where he runs into a yard. He throws his phone away. We're able to subsequently apprehend that phone. They throw this bag of drugs away that's seen from the helicopter. They throw a book bag away that's seen from the helicopter. That book bag is subsequently recovered. It has drugs inside of the book bag. And so this is evidence of that.
A minute. It looks like maybe that's
Yes, because what it's showing is that they're focusing on finding the target vehicle and getting ready to be able to assist the officers on the ground with where the car is going.
Okay, so get back to us with a much condensed version of this.
Where?
Y'all are going to want this sound, right? So are these people trying to get to where the Audi is?
A number of details come in to apprehend individuals.
Yeah, I mean, is there an Audi in?
The helicopter's calling out over radio.
Right. So these are officers who are like, oh, I can help with this chase. Let me get to this area.
Loud on the middle one.
Yeah, so now
On the middle one.
he's directing them to where they are now.
Right. Okay. And so why would it be relevant?
We can get
We're just watching it all now, but this part is not anything you're going to offer. Right? Okay. Can you skip to the part that? Okay. Those GSP cars go fast. This is not a chase, but it's definitely high speed.
There was a gun back there. There was a gun in the street. I'm gonna go back and get it. Boulder Way and Meadowlark. Meadowlark, the west Meadowlark. Meadowlark running on foot.
And do we know whether this is the same route that the Audi took?
yes, because the Audi is, we know from the helicopter, this is the same way the Audi.
Y'all get that gun? Huh? Did y'all get the gun? I'll get my gun. Through the fence to the right of the house, Reveal. It was in the street.
The house where the apprehended is on this street.
They're going to testify?
Tony, you out there? Did you give an update? Yeah, I'm out here. I'm trying to get to where they're running to.
Takes it and gives it to law enforcement. That gun is significant because
Do we see the gun on the camera ever? Okay, let's skip to that part.
Numbers on Boulder Way with 24 maybe. Might be.
I do.
I don't know yet. Did they say they tossed the gun? But this is the gun. They're on around the curve.
All right.
I don't know what they want me to do with this. Right there with it.
People who said
Now, they also talked about Rodalius Ryan today and trying to get in some evidence that is related to him. They played some videos and ciao.
This was posted on February 21st of 2019. The murder was February 23rd. The state believes this is unique and relevant because one of the timing, and two, the person he is adding is who we've talked about earlier.
Okay, last thing to note for today is that Ashley Merchant, who represents Martinez Arnold, sent a letter to Attorney Love today. And shout out to Thugger Daily because he posted it first. In context, Martinez Arnold, aka Duke, is one of the co-defendants in this case, and he accepted a plea deal in December of 2022. Well, Ashley Merchant sent the letter to the state, basically putting them on notice that, according to her, material witness warrants cannot be issued for people who live in the state. So if you remember, Quandarius Zachary was arrested and jailed under a material witness warrant. And Ashley Merchant is saying when you live in the state, you cannot be arrested under that type of warrant. And so she says, if you try that with my client, well, let me read exactly what she says. Quote, if you choose to ignore the foregoing law and seek a material witness warrant for Mr. Arnold, we are putting you on notice of our intent to pursue all remedies provided for false arrest and confinement. We truly hope that is not necessary. Don't that sound like the legal version of F around and find out? In this letter, Ashley Merchant also reminds the state that, per the plea agreement that her client signed, he is able to plead the fifth on the stand. Well, that's another day in this never-ending trial. They'll be back next week.